Okay, so we are about to run out of money. But what does that mean? Who's going to run out of money? And how is this going to impact every single one of us? Well, let me address that in today's video because we now have some very shocking numbers and I want to address where these are coming from and what this means for you and I. Now, before I get into all the numbers and the update for today, first all I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. Now let's get right down to it. So here's what's now being said. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, they are now saying that Americans have burned through more than 90% of their excess savings from 2020 and 2021. That means we are likely to run out of all of our savings, according to economists, by the end of September. By October, we will have no savings. Nothing. This is when people are expecting the economy is going to actually take a turn because we are consumers. Okay, we are a consumer-based economy. We consume goods. We buy. That's what we do. We don't produce, we buy. Here's the issue. If we cannot buy things because we have no money, the economy is going to flip. We're going to see stores go under. We're going to see retailers file bankruptcy. We're going to see employees get laid off. Okay, we are about to see a major shift. And I've said this before, that things are going to happen, but they're going to happen in stages. The next step is we run out of money. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's crazy that we're going to run out of money in the end of September because, well, I ran out of money 6 months ago. Because that's what I've been hearing. But the reason why you've been running out of money is actually pretty simple. We still have inflation. Inflation is still high because the things that are very inflated, for one, home prices, rent. How many people do you know going out there and buying a new home? Right now, just to give you an idea, we are still seeing home prices going up in certain markets. And just checking this morning, an average 30-year fixed rate mortgage is still about 7.5%, which is more than double what it was a year and a half ago. So these monthly payments obviously are so high, many households cannot handle this huge payment. But yet they don't have any other choice because where else are they going to live? Now, that's not the only reason why prices have not dropped. We're also seeing food prices continue to increase. You just look at grain or cereal, for example, up, I believe, 30% in the past 3 years. Since 2020, grain and cereal have gone up almost 30%. That's just one index. Okay, you look at other sectors, they're still going up. And again, they're going up slower than over the past few years, but they're still going up. Now, according to the Fed, here's what we know. People continue to spend money, buying cars, buying homes, going on vacation, buying a new TV or computer, right? Just buying whatever they want. Here's the issue. According to a recent report, the personal savings rate has fallen to 3.5% in July. Okay? In June, it was 4.3%, and in May, it was 4.7%. So just over the past few months, and again, we don't have August yet, but we got May, we got June, we got July. 4.7, 4.3, 3.5. It just keeps coming down. My expectation for August is going to be it's even less. September, it will drop off even more because that's when people are going back to work, people are going back to school, there's back to school shopping, right? The savings rate is going to be low. Here's the shocking number, and this is where the data that's coming in is somewhat scary. Guess what the personal savings rate was back in 2019? This was the pre-pandemic numbers. It was over 8%. I believe it was 8.5% back in 2019. Before the whole pandemic, we were saving over 8%. Now, 3.5. is what we got in July. So what's scary is that by the end of September, according to multiple economists, they are estimating that the American people will be out of money. We will have no money in October. Now, something that actually makes things even worse. Because what else is happening on October 1st? Well, and this is a big thing. This is something we've been talking about for many months. This is something that President Biden has been fighting for, or fighting part of this little war, but the war on student loan debt. Because on October 1st is when student loan repayments are resuming. Actually, on September 1st, which already happened, student loan interest is already accruing. But on October 1st, 2023, that's when the average student loan borrower is going to have to pay back about $400 per month. Now, granted, because of what President Biden has done and the Biden administration, we will have one additional year. So really, you don't have to make a payment if you don't want to or can't afford it until October 1st, 2024. Because you get 1 year of a ramp-on process. But the biggest issue is, how are we supposed to save? We're about 3.5% now. How are we supposed to get back up to that 8%, 8.5%? How we do that when now we have an additional payment that, yes, granted, we had it back in 2019, but we haven't had to make that payment in 3 years. And so what many experts are now saying is that the worry is that our savings rate could go almost to zero. We could see households save absolutely no money because they are seriously living paycheck to paycheck and using credit cards just to subsidize that. Okay? If they don't have enough money from their regular job, they will have to use a credit card to supplement the income that they're missing. That is the scary part, especially when credit card debt has surpassed over $1 trillion, is the highest it has ever been. I also heard from many companies that they are actually, they're seeing at this time where people are being, they're coming in with payments later and later. Okay, so instead of 30 days past due, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, just keeps falling farther and further behind. Again, that's part of the problem. And I want to ask you this. Are you trying to save any money? And if so, what percent are you trying to save? And I ask this because the people that I've talked to that are able to save a little bit of money, they know the exact percentage that they're able to save. For example, 3%, 5%, 10%. They know exactly how much they pull out of their paycheck every single month and they put it into savings. Those that are struggling, they don't look at that number. They don't even consider a possibility that they can save any money, simply because they're living paycheck to paycheck, they're using credit cards, and they just don't have the ability to save at this time. Now, there's one thing I just want to say before you go, and that is that the expectation amongst economists is things are going to get worse. We're not going to see things get better yet. Probably in the first or second quarter of 2024, we'll see some improvements. But as of right now, the expectation is it's going to be harder and harder to save money. It's going to be harder for the economy to stay on this trajectory that we're on, because if consumers don't have any money, then how do we spend? And what happens to all those businesses, all those employees that rely on consumers to have some money? So we're going to see what happens over the next few months. I will be here every step of the way. I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. All you got to do is two things. First off, hit the like button on this video, click that subscribe button so you never miss an update, and I will see you guys on the next one.